that Cloud and the gang have escaped Midgar, what lies ahead for them? Are they going to travel to Kalm? What role will Zack play in future content? And what the heck is going on with Chocobo racing? Stay tuned to find out our thoughts on these topics and more. Middle Rhino Gaming here. I'm Kyle.
Hey, I'm John. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
So, warning, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, so if you haven't finished the game, you may not want to listen to this. So, being that we've beaten the game about a month ago now, and we've had time to process everything, we know that the second one's coming out, part 2 of it.
Probably about like 2 more years.
Probably, but how long the first one took.
Yeah.
And that was even without COVID. So, with the way the last one ended, how do you think what do you think the next one's going to be about?
Well, I'm hoping that it still follows the original story. Maybe adding some different story aspects, maybe, because in my opinion, I think Zack is now alive. So I'm hoping he comes into play at some point and they meet up with him. But I'm not sure how.
I disagree, though, because if they make him alive, that is going to absolutely change so much.
Well, that's the whole point.
But I don't think they want to change that much. Like, if you looked at what they did with the first one, they did make changes, but they were all minor changes, and anything that they really completely changed really didn't impact the overall story that much. Where him being alive, the impact that would do to the entire story would completely change.
Well, I mean, look, Biggs is still alive, so that he's going to play some part in the next story. And so, I mean, if you watch the actual end credit, or the end of the story, you saw that he actually walked away from his fight, where he's supposed to die, and he walks away. So he's alive, somewhere in Midgar.
But he survived that battle. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's still alive. He could have died some other way, because then how did Cloud get his sword?
Again, we won't know until part 2, so I hope that they actually bring that into focus.
So you're thinking that it's going to just continue going forward?
Yeah, it's going to continue.
I think they're going to go backwards.
What do you mean go backwards?
Kind of like a prequel. So like why they showed all that at the very end of the game to me was like, okay, they're going to kind of go backwards and show more of, Cloud and Sephiroth and all them when they were the soldiers, and kind of do like a prequel, basically, and show that whole story, which would kind of be cool when they can elaborate on it a little bit more, kind of like how they did with the first part of this.
Well, in the original game, they go to Kalm, and they talk about his past. So maybe they might meet up with Zack and Kalm, and then they figure out what exactly happened, like they did in the original, but the correct way.
Okay, so what do you hope to see in the upcoming, whether it be, I heard rumors that maybe a DLC might be added to it, or the future part 2, 3, 7, whatever many they do?
I'm hoping that part 2 is that's the last part, hoping they don't go with another part 3. I'm just hoping that it's not linear. I'm hoping that it's more open world. I'm hoping that they make summoning more like it was in the original, because I really did not like how summons were put in this in the part 1.
See, so I was not expecting you to say that you hope there's only 2 parts. I'm kind of hoping this is like a whole new Final Fantasy franchise part to decide, where I know they're coming out with 16 for PlayStation 5. So hopefully they keep going to whatever Final Fantasy 900 that way wise, where you change up. But I think with the characters and the story that they have in Final Fantasy 7, that they could keep building up to where if they have go all the way to part 10. But as long as they keep expanding the story, because like one of the things where you're saying like what Big's still being alive, that whole, even those 3 like a DLC, I wouldn't mind having a DLC based off those 3, Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge, and kind of like doing a whole thing of them as Avalanche and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't be a major DLC, but even if it's only like 7-8 hours of gameplay and stuff like that, that would still be really cool to see how Tifa and Barret get together at first, meet up and all that, and or even how Barret goes into Avalanche. You have all that stuff that you can kind of side branch off of, and that's just the characters that are already here. I mean, you go more into Red 13 when you get into with Vincent and stuff like that. You know his, how he comes along and side quests with him, and I mean, I just see like endless possibilities of what they could do with this. And
yeah, I mean, I agree at some point, but I don't think they need full games. They need to finish with the story, and then they can add DLC to that. I don't think Square Enix can afford to keep making parts because it's way too. You don't want to keep your fans waiting for years for the complete story. You need to get them. You need to get the main story completely done. If you want to do prequels and stuff like that, it's great, but you need to get the main story completed.
But I disagree, because all of the fans, well, 99% of us, we know how the story's going to end.
No, I mean, that's true, but you can't keep all these games.
Well, we know Aerith is going to take a sword to the chest.
You don't know that.
Yeah, we do. And that again,
they changed the story, so it could be anything.
They changed it. They're going to keep changing it a little bit just so they can add more depth into it.
I mean, heck, you can have Zack show up to save her. What do you want the gameplay to be? Do you want to stay the same?
Ex-soldier.
Yes and no.
I quit.
I mean, honestly, because I know they're not going to go back and make it a turn-based game like I want. So I really like the battling system as far as action RPG goes. I liked the way they did their battling system. And now I'm used to it, so I'm fine with them staying in that route. I do agree, I hope they change the summons a little bit. And I'm kind of curious on how they're going to... how Part 1 and Part 2 are going to interact with each other.
I agree. Like, I don't know how they're going to do that. Are they going to allow you to keep your concurrent progress? Are they going to keep you at some kind of certain level? Or are you going to lose all the stuff that you have? Or is it just going to be a completely new game? I hope they bring back Chocobo racing.
I 100% agree. I keep reading articles of people just badmouthing. They're like, oh, let's hope they don't bring back the worst minigame in the whole series and all this. And I loved it. I had fun doing it.
You get a lot of good material from doing that. And it was it was fun. I mean, they could make it a little bit easier to get the gold one.
No, they need to stop making shit easier just because gamers nowadays don't want to be... don't want to play.
Well, yeah, I kind of agree, I guess. I kind of contradicting myself on that one, but everybody likes to have the hand-holded.
So I think it should be the same exact way, just with a... Honestly, they could add more tracks and make the tracks a little harder or whatever. Make it more a game within itself as far as the racing, but I really hope they keep that in there.
Same here. I hope they keep Chocobo racing. I hope they make more mini-games. I hope they do not bring back stupid squatting and pull-up challenges. Those are the most annoying mini-games.
I hope they don't waste 5 minutes of my life running upstairs.
We're cool. Everything's cool.
I did not know I could go take the elevator, and it was too late by that time. I didn't know what was happening. I thought it was just a joke, like, oh, hey, I'm going to run up, 59 flights of stairs. After the 4th or 5th flight, it was going to black out, and all of a sudden I was going to be at, number 58 or something like that. I didn't realize all that shit was going to happen.
Another thing that I hope they fix is I hope they make the material a little bit better. I kind of miss the all materia, and you get as many as you want.
Yeah.
I hope they bring back the material where if you master it, it bursts another one.
That's what I was just... bursts another one. That's what I was just about to say, too. I really liked how that happened in the other one. I'd rather them just get away from buying it, because I didn't really like that. I mean...
Well, the original, you still could buy some, but not all of them.
I know, but I just hope... Let's just get rid of that altogether. We can't... And bring back the... what you call birthing materia. And let's just bring that back. So, like, hey, you get fire materia, you go through, birth 3 more, so all your characters can have it, and have triplets, whatever, and you're good to go.
Also, I hope they revamp the weapon system.
Yes.
And I hope
I want a freaking ultimate weapon.
I hope they make it so that we can actually gather all the ultimate weapons. And I hope that you have more limit breaks. Because that's something I kind of liked in the original, where you had multiple limit breaks. and the part 1 you only had 2.
And again, it could just be because, hey, this is only the first 10th of the game story play, so we're releasing it. But as far as with the weapons, I don't even need the ultimate weapon. I just want that last weapon to be so much more powerful than the other ones. There's a reason why I'm searching that damn thing out.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, and that's our thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Tell us what you think in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit the like button. We are out.
See you guys later.